Welcome to St. Mary's County's virtual Juneteenth celebration. I am Shemika Renee, your host. Today we will be celebrating Juneteenth at the local level here in St. Mary's County. We'll be hearing from local dignitaries and from federal and state representatives. We will also enjoy artistic offerings from regional historical Black colleges and universities and other artists. And we'll meet the current and past presidents of the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions in St. Mary's County. It's the UCAC that first led the local Juneteenth celebration. Juneteenth is the oldest nationally celebrated commemoration of the ending of slavery in the United States. It marks the anniversary of the day Union Army General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston and issued General Order No. 3, proclaiming freedom from slavery in Texas. Some 2.5 years after the Emancipation Proclamation was signed into law, and 3 months after General Lee surrendered in April of 1865. I am standing outside of one of the last surviving slave cabins in Maryland at historic Sauderly Plantation. This site was home to many men and women of European and African descent for over 300 years, making it older than the United States and George Washington's Mount Vernon. Since the 1990s, it has been open to the public as a museum and community gathering place. Today, Sauderly is a vibrant place that strives for real and positive change by connecting people to their past so they may better understand our world today. They honor all of Sauderly's descendants and families. Hearing their voices, they embrace their journey back home. Their stories are Sauderly's history and our future. So, as we acknowledge the past of our nation, let's begin this celebration of freedom. Here's Mike Brown, current president of the UCAC in St. Mary's County.
Hello, I am Mike Brown. I'm the president of the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions of St. Mary's County. We are pleased to present the 17th annual Juneteenth celebration in St. Mary's County. This would be our 18th, but as you know, last year the celebration was canceled due to COVID. Back in 2004, Elmer Brown, the founder of our organization, wanted to have a celebration in the heart of Lexington Park. Why? Because he wanted to hold an event near Lexington Manor, also known as the Flat Tops. Some may remember the Flat Tops were being demolished and all of the residents relocated. He felt the Juneteenth celebration would inspire and uplift the people being displaced. The celebration would not only be for the Lexington Manor residents, but for all residents of St. Mary's County. It has grown to become the largest Juneteenth celebration in all of Southern Maryland, drawing visitors from Northern Virginia, Annapolis, and as far as New Jersey. Let me tell you a little bit about our organization. It was started and incorporated in 1994. UCAC is a 501c3 nonprofit organization. The founder, Elmer Brown, started thinking of all of the contributions that Blacks have made in St. Mary's County, accomplishments that in large part were not being recognized. He set out with others' help to build a large monument dedicated to African Americans. The monument was built in 2000 and stands in the Elmer Brown Freedom Park. Juneteenth has been celebrated in America for more than 165 years. UCAC has celebrated it since 2004. We continue this wonderful celebration with history, traditional foods, music, dance, and good family fun. People must always remember the evils of slavery and make sure that it never happens again in the world. We all must commit to doing everything we can to never allow any human to own another. Today on this Juneteenth, let us commit to fight injustice everywhere. I hope you enjoy this year's celebration. Thank you, and I hope to see you soon.
Are you ready to celebrate? Say yo! All right. When I say USA, you say Barack Obama. USA! USA! Barack Obama. USA! 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 Good. Now, we're going to see how you're going to celebrate. I want to grab your hands. 1, 2. 1, 2. When I say USA, Barack Obama. USA. USA. USA.
Thank you, UCAC President Mike Brown, and thanks to the KanKouran West Africa Dance Company. And now a few remarks from some of our elected officials.
I am Randy Guy, President of Commissioners of St. Mary's County, and it is my pleasure to provide a few remarks for the virtual Juneteenth celebration. The pandemic has shifted the way we gather and the ways we celebrate, but it has not changed the importance of marking important milestones such as Juneteenth. I want to congratulate the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions on their annual celebration. On behalf of the Commissioners of St. Mary's County, I'd like to read the proclamation. Whereas Juneteenth is the oldest nationally celebrated commemorative of the ending of slavery in the United States, and whereas from its Galveston, Texas origins in 1865, the observance of June 19th as African American Emancipation Day has spread across the United States and beyond. And whereas Juneteenth celebrates African American freedom and emphasizes education and achievement, it is a day, a week, and in some areas a month marked with celebrations, guest speakers, picnics, and family gatherings. And whereas Juneteenth takes on a more nationally and even global perspective, the events in 1865 in Texas are not forgotten, for its roots tie back to this fertile soil from which a national day of pride continues to grow. Now, therefore, in recognition of the 17th annual Juneteenth celebration, we, the Commissioners of St. Mary's County, do hereby proclaim June 19, 2021, Juneteenth in St. Mary's County, and encourage all citizens to recognize its importance and learn more about its historical significance. Congratulations to all for this remarkable 2021 virtual celebration, and we look forward to being back in person to celebrate with you in 2022. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chris Van Hollen, and I'm proud to represent the great state of Maryland in the United States Senate. And I'm especially pleased to join you today, the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions in St. Mary's County, as we celebrate Juneteenth. Today marks 156 years since the news that President Lincoln had signed the Emancipation Proclamation finally reached Texas, even though it was more than 2 years after the proclamation was signed and months after the Civil War ended. The story of Juneteenth goes to the heart of our history, and I'm proud to have partnered with colleagues in Congress in the fight to make it a national holiday. Juneteenth is both a celebration of freedom and a solemn reminder of the painful legacy of slavery, a legacy we must directly confront to achieve the goal of building a more perfect union. And part of that mission involves the urgent work to eliminate systemic racism in all its ugly forms. That mission has never been more pressing. We are more than 1 year into a pandemic that has had a disproportionate impact on communities of color. COVID-19 has exacerbated the foundational inequities ingrained in much of our society and highlighted the urgent work we have before us. Our task is now to distribute the coronavirus vaccines in an efficient and equitable way and deliver relief to those hardest hit. But even after the last vaccine shot goes into the last arm, we cannot let up in the fight to ensure equal justice, equal rights, and equal opportunity for all. That is our charge, and I look forward to partnering with the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions and the entire St. Mary's County family in pursuit of that goal. Happy Juneteenth.
Juneteenth is a day to pause and recognize how far we have come and to consider how far we still have to go. As an elected representative, it is my responsibility to give a voice in government to my constituents. It's not enough for me or anyone else just to pay lip service to the fight for equality. We need to get in the ring and champion the Black community. The freedom to vote is crucial to our democracy and to promoting equality. As states around the country dismantle voting rights, know that I am working hard to expand voter access in Maryland, specifically in St. Mary's County. I helped pass legislation that will require St. Mary's County to have 2 early voting centers starting next election cycle. I collaborated with the bill sponsor while he was drafting this legislation to ensure factors such as population density and historically disenfranchised communities were given weight when selecting the additional voting center locations. I sponsored another bill that will make it easier for voters that rely on public transportation to cast their ballot. I fought hard to end the Jim Crow-era policy of at-large voting in county commissioner elections. I'm proud to have supported this cause championed by St. Mary's County NAACP President B.J. Hall and to have battled to end the disenfranchisement of non-white voters in rural Maryland. The General Assembly passed sweeping police reform this year, and the House commemorated Juneteenth as an official state holiday. I really think we should go further and make Juneteenth a paid federal holiday, and I hope that that happens soon. We've come a long way since June 19th, 1865, and we've made a lot of progress in the last year. But this day reminds us to recommit ourselves to ensuring the freedom and equality for all. Happy Juneteenth.
Thank you, Commissioner President Guy, Senator Van Hollen, and Delegate Crosby for those inspiring and encouraging words. I am now standing in the Elmer Brown Freedom Park, which serves as a reminder of the African American contributions to the growth and development of St. Mary's County. The pyramid shape represents the strength and endurance of African Americans throughout history. The stones represent accomplishments of diverse peoples, and the mortar symbolizes strength. The eternal flame on top symbolizes the constant presence of the region's forefathers. Speaking of flames, let's join the Morgan State University Choir as they ignite the celebration with their talent.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure, we'll cry glory, oh glory, we'll cry glory, oh glory.
Hands to the heavens, no man, no weapon formed against, yes, glory is destined. Every day women and men become legends. Since they go against our skin, become blessings. The movement is a rhythm to us. Freedom is like religion to us. Justice is just a position in us. Justice for all just ain't specific enough. Once I die, the spirit is revisiting us. Truly living in us. Resistance is us. That's why Rosa sat on the bus. That's why we walk through Ferguson with our hands up. When it go down, we woman and man up. They say stay down, and we stand up. Shots be on the ground, the camera panned up. King pointed to the mountaintop, and we ran up.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, we will be sure. We will be sure. We'll cry glory. We'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. Now the war is not over. Victory is not won, but we'll fight on to the finish. When it's all done, we'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory. Ooh, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. We'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory. Oh, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory.
Selma is now for every man, woman, and child. Even Jesus got his crown in front of a crowd. We march with the torch, we gon' run with it now. Never look back, we done gone hundreds of miles. From dark roads, heroes, to become a hero. Facing the League of Justice, his power was the people. Enemy was lethal when King became regal. Saw the face of Jim Crow under a bald eagle. The biggest weapon is to stay peaceful. We sing, our music is the cuts that we bleed through. Somewhere in a dream we had an epiphany. Now we right the wrongs in history. No one can win a war individually. It takes the wisdom of the elders and young people's energy. Welcome to the story we call victory. The coming of my Lord, my eyes have seen the glory.
One day, when the glory comes, it will be ours. It will be ours. Oh, one day, when the war is won, you and me will be sure. You and me will be sure. We'll cry glory. We'll cry glory. Oh, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. We'll cry glory. We'll cry glory. When we get there, we'll cry glory. Oh, glory. When we get there, we'll cry. 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 Hand in hand, we stand as one and cry. Hand in hand, we stand as one and cry. We'll cry glory. Oh, glory.
During the last 12 months, America has again revisited our terrible and devastating consequences of the institution of slavery in the United States. And that is why we should recognize Juneteenth as a moment of profound importance in the constant battle to create that more perfect union of which our founders wrote, but did not live out. I want to thank the United Committee for Afro-American Contributions of St. Mary's County for all of your efforts to stage this year's 17th annual event. For too long, Black history has not been included equally in the teaching and commemoration of American history as a whole. I am pleased that in an effort to correct that injustice and to face our past with honesty and full reflection, Maryland lawmakers began taking important steps toward establishing Juneteenth as an observed holiday. And that is one of the reasons we took the Roger Brooke Tawney statue away from the east front of the capital of our state. I applaud these efforts and will continue to support making sure Juneteenth is celebrated more broadly in our country. On Juneteenth and every day, we continue our efforts to ensure that Black history is celebrated as a central part of our shared American history, and to make certain that America lives up to its promise as a land of freedom, justice, and opportunity for all. Juneteenth should be focused on to remind America that we continue to need to fight for a more perfect union and a more perfect sense of equality in America. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Tawanda Jordan, President of St. Mary's College of Maryland. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These inspirational words are from the Declaration of Independence, signed on July 4th, 1776, and celebrated on that date for the 245 years hence. That day, we declared our right to be free from the control of England and to govern our affairs as an independent nation. These words were meant to be about the rights of our nation, not those of the individuals. These words were meant to rally a nation, but they quickly devolved into being a call to arms for individuals to protect their way of life by any means necessary. This notion of protecting their way of life laid the foundation for a system of oppression and perceived supremacy that, as evidenced by the January 6, 2021 insurrection, is still alive and well today in these United States. And it became glaringly apparent to the world that not all men are created equal and not all of us are free. Why continue to celebrate Juneteenth? It serves as a reminder of the dark history of this imperfect union. It inspires us not to allow the ills of the past to be repeated. And it should compel us, as Dr. King stated, to live up to the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident that all men are created equal. When we get to the point when we as a nation are living up to the true meaning of this creed, then we will no longer have to ask the question why it is important to celebrate Juneteenth, because we will be celebrating a day of freedom, justice, and equity for all.
Thank you, Morgan State University Choir. That was amazing. Such profound words from Dr. Tawanda Jordan and Congressman Steny Hoyer. Thank you for your wisdom. I'm standing at the Draden Schoolhouse, one of the best preserved African American schoolhouses in the country. Built around 1890, this one-room schoolhouse served the local Draden community for over 50 years. Unlike many other schoolhouses, this building has never been dramatically altered or moved. It still sits on its original site. As we look at the images of this schoolhouse, we can't help but reflect on those young people who began their schooling here. The late 1800s, not long after slavery was ended, as many as 40 children from 1st to 7th grade were taught in one room by one teacher. African Americans saw education as the key to becoming fully free citizens. Here to celebrate freedom are the young voices from the alma mater of Vice President Kamala Harris, Howard University's choir.
Ain't gonna let nobody
Thank you, Howard University Choir. I am standing on the grounds of St. Mary's College of Maryland, near the new athletic fields. Work had just begun on the new stadium when a required archaeological survey on the proposed construction site unearthed a trove of artifacts indicating evidence of slave quarters. Rather than build over the site, the college chose to build a memorial. The commemorative to enslaved peoples of Southern Maryland takes the form of an enclosed cabin on which poetry and the names of enslaved people are cut through metal panels. It sits on the soil where the artifacts were found, so that all who visit the campus and memorial might reflect and be inspired. Now, let's listen to 3 UCAC past presidents whose leadership and guidance has helped promote UCAC's core mission and contributions to the community for over 25 years.
In 1995, the bylaws for a new organization, the Unified Committee for Afro-American Contributions of St. Mary's County, stated the following purpose: to form a nonprofit organization for the purpose of recording the significant contributions of Afro-Americans in the development of St. Mary's County, Maryland. Our initial program will be to erect a monument honoring individuals and organizations which have produced a positive impact in the community. Signed by Elmer Brown, Karen K. Branch, Reginald Brown, Johnny Brown, Linza Harvey, Donald Moore, Tony Porter, Joseph Spencer Scriber, and Veronica Scriber. Since then, not one, but 2 monuments have been built, and the current UCAC mission statement has evolved. But recording or documenting history is still an important part. Why is documenting our history important? There's a quote on the cover of our book, In Relentless Pursuit of an Education, African American Stories from a Century of Segregation, from a dear departed community elder, Mr. Ralph Butler. He was an educator, musician, and a very wise man. He said, "We can best project where we're going if we first reflect on where we've been." Why does UCAC focus on African American contributions in particular? Another quote on the cover speaks to this question and the UCAC mission. These words are from Mr. Alonzo Gaskin, a St. Mary's County native and a longtime community elder. If you don't know your history, you're destined to live it again. People have made great sacrifices for this country to be where it is today, and it's a universal sacrifice on both sides of the fence. But unfortunately, our history has reflected more of one side than the other. People need to understand the contributions that have been made to make this country what it is. History can warn us, help us understand the present, and plan for the future. And it can help us to remember and celebrate those who have come before us and their accomplishments. This is important because their achievements can inspire us to be our best selves. So, to warn, to understand, to plan, to inspire. And if we didn't know our history, we wouldn't know about slavery, emancipation, and Juneteenth. We would have no reason to come together each year and celebrate it. Happy Juneteenth.
UCAC's mission is extremely important to St. Mary's County. That mission puts education front and center as we document, understand, and foster the many contributions African Americans have made to the history and development of the county. We continue to make history in our advocacy for improvements in health, education, and community building for all citizens. As a retired educator, I know the positive influence and impact that African Americans have had in our schools and community. UCAC's exhibit on display in the United States Colored Troops Interpretive Center is entitled, Remember the Past, Look to the Future. And our book, In Relentless Pursuit of an Education, tell the story of African American education during a century of segregation. From one-room schools like Draden, that had no running water or electricity, to segregated consolidated schools like Banneker and Carver, the promise of being separate but equal were never equal. The book touts the accomplishments of the first African American commissioner, John Lancaster, the first elected African American sheriff, Joseph Lee Somerville, the first African American elected sheriff in the county and state, and the 6th in the country, and the first African American school board member elected, Mary Washington. Though significant contributions have been made by past generations, the work is not done. We continue to work with the NAACP, the Minority Outreach Coalition, St. Mary's County Public Schools, county government, and others to ensure that our youth are prepared to make their mark in the 21st century. However, they are facing many obstacles and disparities. African American students are twice as likely to be suspended from school or arrested. Achievement data for African American students and students in poverty show disparities. They are reflected in the enrollment of minority students in pathway programs like STEM, Global Studies, and the programs offered at the school named for the renowned African American Dr. James A. Forrest Technology Center, such as dental assisting, natural resources conservation, and electrical wiring. Only 10% of teachers are African American or other minorities. For aspiration and inspiration, our children need to see people who look like them in all walks of life. Though graduation rates are on par, There are concerns about student readiness to move to post-secondary education or the world of work. Few African Americans are enrolling in the College of Southern Maryland's trades and energy programs, where they can be trained for jobs such as linemen for SMECO or become apprentices in the construction trades. Equity is an issue in education, and success for our children is our responsibility. As we celebrate Juneteenth, UCAC is proud to boast that we provide scholarships for students attending historically Black colleges and universities. We need historians to continue to study and share our history. As we reflect on freedom, embrace the quote by Dr. George Washington Carver: "Education is the key to unlock the golden door of freedom." Let's make Juneteenth a national holiday. Thank you.
Good day. I'm Nathaniel Scroggins. As we look to the celebration of Juneteenth 2021, we as a people must review what has been our most recent past and the conditions caused by the pandemic of 2020. COVID-19's adverse effect on people of color is most noticeable in health disparities. Health disparity refers to the high burden of illness, injury, disability, and mortality experienced by one group relative to another. A health care disparity typically refers to the difference in health insurance coverage, access to and use of care, and the quality of care. Long-standing health and social inequities have put many people in racial and ethnic minority groups at an increased risk of getting sick and dying from COVID-19. St. Mary's County is no exception. We have had 7,108 citizens succumb to the pandemic. 1,553 people in Lexington Park alone. Social determinants of health has historically prevented people of color from having fair opportunities for economic, physical, and emotional health care. There is increasing evidence that some racial and ethnic minority groups are being disproportionately affected by the conditions we face daily. Inequities in the social determinants of health, such as poverty, health care access, affecting those groups are interrelated. They influence a wide range of health and quality of life outcomes. To achieve health equity, barriers must be removed so that everyone has a fair opportunity to be healthy. UCAC can use the Juneteenth celebration to annually bring to light these disparities, including discrimination associated with health care access and utilization, occupational awareness, health education, income, wealth gap, and housing disparities. As past president of UCAC, I urge all people of color, especially our youth, to monitor the disparities facing our communities. Join UCAC and our community partners in setting the course to the elimination of all disparities. We must remember the words of Martin Luther King Jr. If cruelties of slavery could not stop us, the opposition we now face will surely fail, because the goal of America is freedom. Abuse and scorn though we may be, our destiny is tied up with America's destiny. Thank you.
Thank you, past UCAC Presidents Taylor, Walthour, and Scoggin. All of you have played a significant role in the growth and success of UCAC. This United States Colored Troops Memorial is dedicated in grateful tribute to the colored troops of St. Mary's County. The memorial honors 2 soldiers in the United States Colored Troops Union Army from St. Mary's County: Sergeant James H. Harris and Private William H. Barnes, who were awarded Medals of Honor for gallantry at the Battle of New Market Heights, Virginia in September 1864. As is customary to welcome troops home with a celebration, let's celebrate with soul in motion, African dancers who remind us of our heritage, and Gayle Danley, who will grace us with a poetry reading.
Yeah.
To vote is to hope, to believe that within you is the power to make today the tomorrow that your grandmama prayed for last week. That's to vote. It's the hope of the mountain song and the valley's mantra. Voting is like the collective breath of dreams, sprawled seat to seat on the subway train, inching down Harwood Street with the sweat of 30 10th graders so grateful to be returning home to mama. That's to vote. It's to know the strength of one and the resistance of 1 million, the journey of 1,000 miles, or the leap, faith, right next door, to vote. That's to remember that rights ain't given, rights are won, rights are demanded, then recorded on the history books to become law, and the justice that our children deserve. To vote. It's to redeem every teardrop, each bead of sweat on a marcher's determined face, every night spent sprawled on the cold floor of a jail cell, every blow of billy club, and each cracked skull under the weight of a water hose assault. Redeem. It's the chant of our foremothers rising like a fist in the air. Vote for your life, sugar. Vote for your rights. Vote like it's a love letter written in the ink of gratitude. To vote, that's to thank them. Thank you, Elijah Cummings. Thank you, Dr. King. Thank you, Fannie Lou Hamer. Oh, I can feel you, Dr. Mary McLeod Bethune. Thank you, Medgar Evers. Thank you, Dr. Dorothy Height. See, I'm the reward of your struggle. I'm the fulfillment of your highest dream. You paid the price. And when I cast the ballot, the debt is repaid. Come on, y'all, let's proclaim to the world. When I vote, I matter. When you vote, you matter. When we vote, we matter. Vote, y'all. Vote, y'all. Let nothing stop you. Vote. Vote. No suppression. Get a ride to the polls. Walk. Crawl. Vote. Like our lives depend on it. Because guess what, y'all? They do.
Thank you, Soul in Motion and Gayle, for your remarkable artistry. Juneteenth is a celebration of freedom. For many African American families, it is the day to celebrate freedom. We thank all of you who joined us virtually today. If you are watching us live, we would like to remind you that at 1 p.m. there will be African American history tours at the USCT Monument, the Draden Schoolhouse, the African American Monument, and the Interpretive Center. Also from 4 to 6 p.m., a live jazz concert will take place here at Lancaster Park. Please bring your own chairs and canopies. And as a reminder, social distancing may be enforced. If you are watching this after the 2021 Juneteenth events, we hope you've enjoyed this virtual Juneteenth celebration, and we look forward to seeing you in person next year for Juneteenth 2022. I am Shemika Renee. Thank you for joining us today and celebrating freedom.
Let every voice